Today we are going to be looking at Mobile Companion app for resident companion documentation. When getting into Companion mobile app to document, you are going to click on Companion, which on my phone is in the upper left-hand corner. It's a green app with a heart icon on it. Once you are in here, you are going to get a screen to log in. If you don't see your login on the top few listings, you can always click on the bottom where it says use a different account. I don't see the account I'm going to use, so I'm going to click on that button. And then it's going to have me sign in with my organization. Here, I'm going to type in my username. So for this example, we're going to be using csigtrain.rctest. And then now we'll put in our password in that second box. Once you sign in, and it might take a minute to load everything, you're going to get this pop-up screen. So here it's going to want you to confirm your settings. So from here, it's going to tell me which community I'm working at, what shift, and what assignment. If some of these are not accurate, you can hit the edit button on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And then from here, we can edit the shift we're working, the assignment we're working on. So I'm going to click the all button because I want to see all of my residents for this example. If you made any changes, you can hit apply at the bottom. And then you can hit continue at the bottom as well. So once you first log in, you are going to have 4 icons at the bottom of your screen. You're going to have the to-do icon, the resident icon, updates, and settings. First, we're going to take a look at settings. And then from here, if we ever need to change assignments while we're working, it'll, if we click change assignment, it will take us to that exact same screen we were just at. I'm going to hit cancel. From here, I can also change my text size. I have a Relias button. I can change my password or log out. I'm going to click on to do at the bottom of my screen, and it's going to tell me everything I need to do in my shift for the assignment I chose in chronological order. So it's going to have my 8 a.m.s due first, and then as I keep scrolling, it's going to show me ones due later in my shift. So now you can see like Isabella Wallace has 5 tasks that are Q shift. So we have tasks that are due at specific times, such as the safety checks, incontinence, escort mobility. So those are going to be due at specific times. And you have an hour before and an hour after each time to document on it. So for example, if it's due at 8 a.m., it's going to turn yellow, which is that little ribbon on the left-hand side of that task. And that ribbon will turn yellow an hour before it's due, and then it'll stay yellow until an hour after it's due. If you document on it, it will turn green, which means that task was documented on. If you don't document on it and that hour is passed, so at 9 a.m. for this task, it will turn red if I don't document on it, which means it's late. So if I click on Escort Mobility, it's going to tell me all 3 residents who are due for it. So if I click on Juliet, any instructions are going to be listed in the instructions box. A lot of times that's also going to say refer to service plan, and you'll get the details of how that resident gets escorted, where we're going with the resident in the service plan, and I'll show you that in a minute. Effective date and time, so maybe we did this 15 minutes ago. I can always click on that effective date and time box and change the time to whatever time I did it. And then was it completed, yes or no? I can click on standard responses below and it will give me just a few more options, but generally the yes or no is going to be sufficient. So for this example, I'm going to click on yes, and then I'm going to click on save at the bottom. If you notice on the left, Juliet went to the bottom and you can see the green ribbon to the left of her name, which means that she has been documented on. If for some reason, maybe we documented on Juliet incorrectly, I can always click on her. And then I can click strike out on the upper right-hand corner. And then why I am striking it out. So maybe it was the wrong chart. And then I can click strike out at the bottom. So this task is going to go back to being yellow for somebody to document on. So I'm going to hit the back button at the upper left-hand corner of my screen. And I'm going to scroll down. So this is telling me Isabella Wallace has 5 tasks that are queue shift. So these aren't going to show red and late until after my shift is over. The reason for that is it gives the staff members more flexibility to document. For example, if it's a shower task, we don't know when that resident's going to want their shower. It allows us to document it at 9 a.m. or 1 p.m. without being late. So if I click on Isabella, here I can see she has dressing, escort, grooming, behaviors, and transfers. So most of your task prompts are going to be a simple yes or no, was the task completed? A few of them will ask some extra questions. So if you ever see reasoning behaviors, you can click on that. And it's going to ask you to select whatever behaviors the resident was having. So for this example, I'm going to say maybe the resident was pushing and grabbing. And then I'll scroll down and it's going to ask if the resident has exhibited this behavior before, yes or no. So I'm just going to say no, the resident has not exhibited the behavior. And then we'll click on save. And so now it's green at the bottom. Everything else is yellow on the left-hand side because those still need documented on. The goal of Companion and the purpose is to document as you go. So if I'm in Isabella's room and I'm getting her ready for the morning, after I get her dressed and assist with the grooming and transfer her, I'm going to want to document on everything I'm doing for her. So if I document that I helped with grooming, I'm going to say yes, the task was completed, and I'm going to click save. So if I have to help her groom later in her shift, I'm going to want to document on that again. So maybe I helped her brush her teeth in the morning. Now we're brushing her teeth and we're going to pretend it's been an hour. You're going to want to document on that each time you do it. So that way your wellness leaders can see how often that resident is getting assistance. So I'm going to click on grooming requires assistance again. And if I'm documenting on it again, I'm going to click new entry at the bottom. And now I'm going to again say, yes, it was completed and save. So every time you're helping a resident, you're going to want to document it on it. Now at the bottom, and it will only show up here once, but in the settings and in the background, we can see how many times you're documenting on it. I'm going to hit the back button on the upper left-hand corner of my screen. We also have filters. So if you see where it says all, it's clicked on blue. That's everything that's due during my shift. I can also click on time, and that's just going to show me those specific time ones we looked at, like our 8 a.m.s or 9 a.m.s. And then if I click on Q shift, it's going to show me anything that we have to document on during the whole shift. I usually leave that as all, but you can play with those filters as you want. And then we also have a search box up at the top, which is nice. So something I like to use this for is going to be if I type in bathing, it's going to show me everybody who has a bathing task done or due at the shift. It's going to help you plan your day a little bit better so you know who has who has to be showered during your shift or anything like that. Next at the bottom, we have a residence button. So this is going to be those same tasks we just charted on. However, it's going to be in order of residence rather than more of the chronological order. So again, we have a search bar. We can search by name, or we can just filter it by location or name. Again, we have these color codes that transfer over. So green, that means they're done. Yellow means they have something due now. And if you have something that's silver, I'm trying to find one. It's like a silver gray. I'm not seeing one, but that means it's due later in the shift. So for this example, we're going to click on Joe. If you notice, it will tell you Joe's room number. And we have this info tab that it's going to bring you up to when we click on his name. We're going to have his photo, his apartment number, his room number, date of birth, and age. And then in the info tab, we're going to have the advanced directive, any allergies, special instructions, diet, and individual service plan. The individual service plan is really important because it's going to show you what that resident needs done. So when your wellness leaders are doing an evaluation on your resident, that's going into your service plan. So everything is updated in live time. So if I click on individual service plan, it's going to show me everything my resident needs assistance with. So for bathing, there are total assistance. Caregiver has to remain in the bathroom. For cognition, we have to provide daily reorientation to routine. So it's just going to give us more specifics to that resident. So I'm going to hit the back button on the upper left-hand corner. The next button is update. So this is going to show me any new alerts for this resident. So for this community, how it's set up is it's going to alert on new skin issues, on behaviors, and meal consumptions less than 50%. Resident companions, caregivers, you also can free type a note and it'll go to your nurses, and that will also show on this screen. To do that, you're going to hit the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner and you will click on Create Alert. And then we have some standard alerts in here. You can also click on Custom on the upper right-hand corner, and you can free type it in here if those standard responses weren't something that you were needing. But if those are sufficient, so no BM in 3 days, decline in functioning, we can just click on one of those. So maybe no BM in 3 days, and it will go over to, if I hit continue and hit save, it will go over to my updates dashboard. And then again, nursing can see this on their side. If I click the to-do button, it's going to show me everything they need done on their shift. This is just like that chronological order list we were looking at earlier, but now we can see everything due for this resident. So maybe again, I assisted with bathing for Joe. If you notice for instructions, it says refer to service plan. So if I needed to know more about how he bathes and what assistance he needs, I would go to that service plan that I just showed you, and it would show me what I need to do when I'm giving him a shower. So I'm going to say task was completed, yes, and hit save. And now it's green at the bottom. Over to the right, we also have a PRN button. PRN stands for as needed. So if maybe it wasn't Joe's shower day, we had to give him an extra shower, I could document it as an as needed task here, and then I can say, yes, it was completed and save. So anything that's not typically scheduled for you to do, you can document under PRN. In this plus sign on the upper right-hand corner, we also have a button that says apply to all. So this is going to be used if the resident is at the hospital, LOA with their family, at skilled rehab, and we need to document on their tasks. So just because they're not here at the community, we still have to document on their tasks that they're not here. So this apply to all button, if I click on it, I can say resident not available and hit continue. I'm going to hit yes. And now it's going to document all of Joe's tasks that he wasn't available to do them. So instead of going one by one and doing that documentation, it's just going to do them all at once and save you a little bit of time. Again, in that plus sign, I can also click on document unscheduled task. So this is going to be an unscheduled task, which is for a resident who normally can assist themselves with this task, and we're randomly assisting them. The benefit of doing an unscheduled task rather than a PRN for that is going to be it sends an alert over to nursing, and they can see if it's a change of condition and do appropriate follow-ups. Where if it's a PRN, they don't get notified of the documentation of the extra task that you're doing. So I'm going to hit the back button, and I'm going to go back to my resident view, and now I'm going to click updates on the bottom. So here I can see any updates that were done in my community. So I have the all button, which is going to show me all of these, but I'm just going to go one by one across the top. So if I click on alerts, so this is going to be any of those meal consumptions I talked about, any behaviors, skin issues, those standard alerts where I clicked on no BM in 3 days. Those are all going to come here. Bulletin is our next one. So within PCC, your wellness leaders have the ability to post communications in the system. This could be something as simple as a training coming up, a new move-in, and it will show here. Clinical is the next one. So this is going to be, again, updates from your clinical leaders, your leadership team, and it's going to be more specific resident information than was posted on the bulletin board. ADT stands for admissions, discharges, and transfers. So this is going to tell you any residents that just moved into your community, moved out, went to the hospital, came back from the hospital, just keeps you up to date on everybody's comings and goings. I personally like to leave that as all, just so that way I can see any recent activity and I'm not missing anything. Best practice is to come in and check this at the beginning of your shift and again at the end of your shift. If you have any updates down there, it will tell you. So it is a little bit delayed. So now it does tell me at the bottom I have 2 updates. And now I have a new updates button at the top. If I click on it, it will refresh. And now we can see that no BM in 3 days I just documented on. Once I'm done documenting, I'm going to go into my settings button and hit log out. If you have further questions on companion documentation, just reach out to your wellness leader and they can assist you. Thank you very much.